Issei Sagawa, the cannibal who got away with murder. He murdered an innocent woman, desecrated her body, ate parts of her flesh, and then walked free, unpunished. Issei Sagawa, the so-called Kobe cannibal, became one of the most infamous killers in modern history. But what's truly disturbing isn't just what he did. It's how he got away with it. Issei Sagawa was born on April 26, 1949, in Kobe, Japan. From the outside, he seemed privileged. His father was a wealthy businessman, the president of Kurita Water Industries. Sagawa grew up in a well-off household, with access to elite education and every opportunity to succeed. But from an early age, something wasn't right. He was a small, sickly child, so premature at birth that he could fit in the palm of an adult's hand. Throughout his childhood, he was introverted, physically weak, and deeply insecure. And then came the fantasies. Around the age of 6 or 7, Sagawa began experiencing urges that were anything but normal. He fantasized about eating the flesh of his classmates, not out of hunger, but as a twisted expression of desire. He would later describe these cannibalistic impulses as sexual in nature, tied to his obsession with Western women. He didn't just want them, he wanted to consume them. As an adult, Sagawa continued to live in the shadow of his dark fantasies. He studied English literature at Waco University and eventually moved to Paris in 1977 to pursue a PhD at the Sorbonne. But while on paper he was a dedicated academic, in reality, he was growing more and more detached from humanity. In Paris, he hired prostitutes, many of whom he admitted he wanted to kill. On one occasion, he actually brought a sex worker back to his apartment with a rifle hidden nearby. But when it came time to act, he found himself unable to pull the trigger. Then came June 11, 1981. That night, Issei Sagawa would stop fantasizing and finally act. Renée Hartvelt was a bright, kind, and talented Dutch student. She and Sagawa had formed a casual academic relationship, reading poetry together and discussing literature. But unbeknownst to her, Sagawa saw her as the embodiment of his darkest obsession, a beautiful, healthy Western woman whose body he longed to consume. On that night, he invited her to his apartment to read poetry aloud. As she read, her back turned, Sagawa retrieved a rifle from his closet and shot her in the neck. She died instantly. What followed was unspeakable. Over the next 2 days, Sagawa roasted her corpse, cut pieces of her body off, stored parts in the fridge, and ate her flesh, raw and cooked. He even photographed the process as if documenting an art project. He claimed he felt a sense of euphoria and fulfillment. But he wasn't done. When he attempted to dispose of her dismembered body in a suitcase at a nearby lake, passers-by alerted the authorities. He was arrested that same day. French authorities quickly pieced together the horror. Sagawa confessed without hesitation. But instead of being put on trial, he was declared legally insane and unfit to stand trial. He was sent to a French mental institution, where he remained for just 2 years. In 1984, he was deported to Japan. And that's where everything broke down. Japanese authorities couldn't access the French court documents, which were sealed. And without that evidence, they had no legal grounds to detain him. Psychiatrists in Japan deemed him sane, and just like that, he checked himself out of the hospital. He was free. Instead of fading into shameful obscurity, Sagawa became a celebrity. He wrote multiple books about the murder. He appeared on talk shows. He was featured in graphic magazines. At one point, he even became a food critic, yes, a food critic, for a Japanese publication. In a country that didn't quite know how to process his case, Sagawa turned himself into a grotesque icon of horror. And what's worse, he never once showed remorse. In interview after interview, he described the murder in vivid detail, expressing no regret, only a twisted pride in finally realizing his fantasy. In 2013, Sagawa suffered a cerebral infarction that left him partially paralyzed. Still, he lived on for nearly another decade. On November 24, 2022, he died of pneumonia in Tokyo at the age of 73. He never spent a single day in prison. Issei Sagawa's story is one of failure, of justice systems, of medical assessments, and of media responsibility. A man who committed one of the most horrific crimes imaginable not only walked free but profited from his notoriety. Renée Hartvelt's name is rarely remembered, while her killer became a household name. And that might be the most disturbing part of all. If this story horrified you, it should. Share Renee's name. Remember the victim. Because in the end, it's not about the killer. It's about making sure their crimes are never forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories.